there's a lot to dissect here. Dale Vince is the founder and owner of Ecotricity, based in Stroud. He's also donated to Just Stop Oil, as well as the Labour Party as well, and joins me now. Good morning, Dale.
Yeah, morning. How's things?
Dale, thank you very much for your time this morning. It's much appreciated. Can I get your general thoughts, first off, on this change of tactics from the government?
Yeah, it's all about the election. I think this is like the firing gun for the election, which could come in next spring. It has to come by the end of next year, but I think it's going to come early. And this is Rishi Sunak trying to create a space between him and Labour on the climate, and actually also trying to demonize net zero, really, trying to claim that it's a burden on hardworking people. These policies that he claims to have reversed, some of them didn't even exist, not the two that you listed, but there's another 4 or 5 that don't even exist, like a tax on meat and dairy, forcing everybody to carpool share and have 7 bins for their rubbish. None of that exists, but he claims to have saved us from it. So really, it's a bit of smoke and mirrors of politics. And, I don't think it will do much to weaken our commitment to net zero by 2050. We're going to miss that target anyway.
OK, Joe, let's break it down. The petrol diesel car date that's been changed now by 5 years, it seems fair enough because that brings it in line with other European countries who are doing the same.
Yeah, that's what the Conservatives have been saying all day yesterday. The thing to bear in mind is that 80% of all car sales every year are second-hand, and people that are hard-pressed suffering with the cost of living don't run around buying new cars. And so, this isn't helping people with the cost of living crisis that the Conservatives have created. And in any event, the Climate Change Committee say that a 5-year delay in this implementation of the ban will cost motorists £10 billion in fuel costs, because electric cars are cheaper to run. So it doesn't make any economic sense. It's only sensible if you look at it through the prism of politics.
The fundamental principle, though, Dale, that forcing people to pay more for things like cars or heating because of net zero targets, can you see that's slightly unfair? Because, for example, right here in Bristol, the Clean Air Zone CAS targets people who can't afford to upgrade their cars, and many policies are perceived as being unfair to those on low incomes. Can you see that principle might be seen as unfair?
Absolutely, and I think that's what's being played on here. But like I said, poor people don't buy new cars. That doesn't happen. And by 2030, the original date of the ban on petrol and diesel cars, the motor manufacturers say they will achieve price parity. So it won't cost you more to buy a new electric car if you can afford one anyway. And so pushing it back 5 years isn't saving anybody from anything. But it's also worth bearing in mind people's right to clean air. I know that ULEZ creates it polarizes opinion, but people have the right to breathe clean air. And 40,000 people a year in our country die from traffic pollution.
A couple of quick questions about Labour response then, Dale. Many seeing this as a clear election strategy. How should Labour respond to this?
If I were them, I wouldn't really pay it much attention, because the motor manufacturers are bringing an end to the production of these dirty cars anyway. Electric cars are not just cleaner, but much cheaper to run, saving us all thousands of pounds a year. And what Rishi Sunak has done just won't change anything. It's just window dressing for the coming election. So if I were them, I wouldn't really be too worried.
Final question, Dale. The Prime Minister also said he was scrapping recycling policies, taxes on meat and flying, although they don't ever appear to be the ideas the government were considering in the first place. But are those the sorts of things that you would want a Labour government to do in the future? Is that something that a Labour government should be considering?
Well, it's so dishonest what the Conservatives have done. Rishi Sunak claims to have saved us all from these policies. As you say, they don't even exist as ideas, let alone policies. But to answer your question, look, I'm in favour of some kind of tax on meat and dairy, because it's carbon intensive, it uses up a lot of our land, and it's destroying wildlife in our country. And we have followed for decades the principle that the polluter should pay. This is how the economy should work. And at the moment, you can fly super cheaper than catching a train. That's not right, because that's the highest carbon form of transport, and meat is the highest carbon form of food. And so we have to look at those things and give the economic signals to people to change behaviour.
OK, Dale, thank you so much for your time this morning. It's much appreciated. Dale Vince,